with all the basics of how we're doing everything in the course now dealt with, let's move on to one of the most important sections of doing anything like this, is to tune what is happening in your game and to push the limits of what is working. So at the moment, if we play the game here, we have our player running around like crazy, shooting bad guys, we've got our sound effects, things are exploding, and there's lots of various different body parts along the way. But it's all kind of, it's way more fun than what we started off with, but we can always make it that little bit more exciting. So let's try do some crazy stuff that you wouldn't normally expect when you're shooting guns around. So we're going to do things like turn up the fire rate, make more enemies, make our guns do more damage. And let's try also, just to make things more interesting and make more fun, most importantly for the player, we'll add the ability for our gun to shoot multiple bullets at a time. So we'll start by doing that. So we'll go to our player controller script. We'll open that up in MonoDevelop. And basically what we're going to do, we're going to set a value for however many bullets we want our player to be able to fire at a time. So we'll create a public int that we'll call number of bullets, and then all we do is when we're shooting our bullets, we still only want one sound effect to play. Really, we don't want a bunch of different sound effects happening, but what we can do is wrap this in a for loop. So what we're going to go for int I equals 0 to start off with, then as long as I is less than our number of bullets, then we will increment I. So what we're basically just saying here is, say if we choose 3 bullets as our number of bullets to fire, on each round through it'll create a new bullet and then increment our I value and check and make sure it's less than our number of bullets. So that's how we're just creating 3 of them at once, but we're only getting one sound effect to play because we don't need a bunch of sound effects happening at once. What happens is, if we were to make 3 sound effects happen at the exact same moment, it would actually end up being really loud, and it would be 3 times as loud as what we want our bullets to normally sound like. So you would end up with a lot of weird sound issues. That's why we want to have our sound coming from the player shooting rather than the sound actually being on the bullets themselves. So let's test this out in the game. We'll save that, we'll go back in and we'll let it compile, and on the player we'll get an extra little option down here for how many bullets we want to fire. So again, this whole section that we're dealing with right now is about pushing our different values and seeing what is kind of more fun just to play around with. So if we have our number of bullets on 3, we start firing, you can see now we're starting to get a bit of a spread of bullets as they go. But maybe that spread isn't quite wide enough because it's hard to see maybe unless if the enemies are, say, about here, it's kind of hard to see that our bullets are really spreading. So let's start going a little bit more crazy. On our bullets, let's make the spray range be 2. Go back in the game. Now we can start to see our bullets are spraying around an awful lot more. So like I said, we're going to keep pushing this and making things better. So what else can we do? Let's make our bullets a little bit bigger. So we'll go into we'll drag one of our bullets into the scene here, and then we'll go into our art file where we have another size of bullet, our laser big. So I'm going to click and drag, if I had the right thing in the slot here, I'm going to click and drag that into our sprite renderer. So now our laser is much bigger, and we'll do the thing we did before of making our box collider a little bit bigger. It actually shouldn't matter too much about how wide the box collider is, so long as we make the box collider be closer to the right edge of the bullet. So we've done that now, so let's apply that change. Get rid of this one bullet from the scene, and again we'll press play and see how does this feel. So here we go, now we've got bigger bullets and suddenly it feels like, yeah, we're doing a lot more damage here. So let's keep going. We're doing some more damage, so let's make some more enemies. There's 8 enemies coming out, let's make it double that. See, can we deal with them? It's about pushing these limits and seeing what can your players handle. So they're taking a while to come out in between each round, so let's make them spawn a bit quicker. at half the time it takes to spawn them. So now there's more of them coming out. They're coming out quite fast, but we're still well able to handle them. So in that case, let's go to our enemies, our robot. Let's give them some more health. So their starting health is 2. Let's give them 5 health. And let's put their move speed up to 10. Now I don't know if these numbers will work. It's all about testing them out and seeing what works and what's fun. Now look, there's loads of them coming. They're still just all getting destroyed just before we get to the player. So now we've ended up here with a scene where all these enemies come flying at us. Let's reset the scene. I'm just going to get out of the way. All these enemies are coming flying at us. Look at them running around. But we're actually well able to handle them. So our player can run at our enemies. We can strafe backwards if we need to. And now all those enemies are destroyed and we can continue on with our adventure. So suddenly we've got a scene where, hey, it's fun to kill a whole load of enemies, but we're well able to handle them and we can go on. And it's important to note, of course, that like since we're upgrading the power of our bullets and stuff like this might be something that you would add to the game as you go further on into it. Maybe you don't want your player to have all this power when they start the game, but you can see as we go on to this point, suddenly we've got a gun that can fire loads of bullets. We can shoot around all over the place. We can speed up how fast our bullets move. Let's go here, make our bullets speed up to 35. So there you go, now we're shooting way faster. Our bullet, let's change our bullet, our weight between shots. Let's put this down to 0.05. Look at that, we're firing bullets like crazy, but they're still working perfectly fine. They feel more fun. We could, I just need to reset those because I just stopped the game. But we can, where is our shots? There we go, I was going blind. But we can do this stuff to our enemies very simply and very straightforwardly. So our enemy spawn, we've got loads of them. Our robots, we've set their speed faster. Our bullet speed has been set up. So now we've got all these enemies. Let's shoot away them. So our screen is shaking a bit more as we go and stuff like that. So let's put some more enemies in. Let's give ourselves 30 enemies. At this point, we'll probably need to start moving around a bit more as we go. No, even at this speed, they're still not spawning quick enough to actually do us any real damage. So let's spawn them in even quicker. Whoa, there we go. Yeah, now they're starting to do some damage to me. But you can see we can push the limits of what's going on quite a lot. And still, we're able to have a bunch of fun with our player doing stuff. So that's why it's important to tune these things and make them feel that little bit better.